What's up, everybody? Danny Sinowitz here, the College Dude. Today, we're going to be talking about the difference between dependent and independent students. Now, I know we've talked about taxes before, but the conversation today and the classifications between the two actually have nothing to do with taxes. The definitions we're going to discuss are strictly based on the Department of Education and how they classify if you and your parents need to fill out the FAFSA or just you as an independent student. Let's get into it. So we are now at the studentaid.gov website, which is where all the magic happens and all the information that you need to figure out if you're a dependent or independent student can be found. So it's determined first by looking at, well, if you're an independent student, you only need to report your own information. And if you're married, you need to report your spouse's information. But if you're a dependent student, you need to report both your assets along with your parents' assets. So to determine which of the two that you are, you need to read this paragraph and then answer these questions down here on the FAFSA form. So if you were born before January 1, 2000, then you would be over the age of 24 based on these questions. You'd be an independent student if that was the case. You're going to go through each of these answers here. If you answer yes to any one of these questions, you're going to be an independent student. If you answer no to every single question, you're going to be a dependent student. And it's shown to you right here. So for federal student aid purposes, you would be considered independent in the event you answered yes to any one of those questions. But if you answer no, you need to include your parents' information on the FAFSA form. So what difference does it make and why is it important? Well, let's go through each of the reasons why it does matter that you know if you're a dependent or an independent student and what that means in terms of qualifying for federal aid. So again, to recap, if you answered no to every single one of the questions, you're a dependent student. But if you answered yes to one or more of the questions, you are considered an independent student. Biggest reasons it's important to understand if you're an independent or a dependent student comes down to your eligibility for the direct loans. As you can see on the left-hand side, dependent students are eligible for $5,500 their first year, $6,500 their second year, and then in years 3 and 4, they're eligible for $7,500 each. For independent students, you're eligible for an increased amount each year. $9,500 your first year, $10,500 your second, and then in years 3 and 4, you're eligible for $12,500. It's important to understand the difference between the two because these types of loans are the best loans that you can actually take out when it comes to paying for school. These loans are fixed interest, they're low interest, they have very favorable repayment options that can be based on your income once you graduate. And then they also have public service loan forgiveness and forgiveness options in general. Knowing your dependency status is going to help you determine how much you are allowed to take out per year in direct loans, which again are the most favorable types of student loans. Another thing to keep in mind is the Pell Grant eligibility. Dependent students are going to have their Pell Grant eligibility based on both their parents and the student financials. Whereas for independent students, the Pell Grant eligibility is strictly based on the student's family only. So that does not include the parents of that family. Let's talk about grad school and professional school. So some law schools are going to require parent information to be included when you're filling out the FAFSA for law school. Some health schools and health-related schools may also require it as well in order to receive some benefits that can be offered to the Department of Health and Human Services. But for nearly every other school that's grad school or professional school, you are going to be an independent student. Let's take a look at some of the loan limits that you can get as an independent student for grad school and for professional school. When it comes to graduate or professional school, you will be listed as an independent student if you're attending one of those schools. You're eligible for up to $20,500 in an unsubsidized direct loan per year when you're in grad school. So those numbers do go up significantly. As you know, college is expensive. Knowing your student dependency status will be able to help lower that cost just a little bit and help you properly budget for college to make sure that you're not overspending. For more tips and tricks on how not to pay more for college than you have to, be sure to check out my other videos and check out thecollegedude.com. Until next time.